Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and we're going to continue working with Substance Painter. We're going to texture our cube and then export it out. So let's go ahead and go to File, go to New. You set the template to ASM PBR Metallic Roughness. And once you do that, you are good to go to select file. So you're going to select your file. I'm going to click on the OBJ object that I created, just a regular cube. Document resolution, we're going to do 2048. The defaulted DirectX is fine. Compute tangent space normal per fragment is good. And we're using Udemy tiles. If you're not, you do not select this. If you're just using one tile for the whole thing, you won't need to select this. So in here, we're going to select it, and we're also going to preserve UV tile layout per material. And go ahead and click OK. If you get an error, let's say you bring your object in and you get an error, it's usually your Udemy tiles. You've either overlapped your UV tiles, or you have a UV tile that's touching the boundary, the UV Udemy tile boundary, the black square around, or they're touching each other. That's going to be the issue. You can't have two UV shells overlapping each other, touching each other. So those things you'll need to go back and check. You could also have issues with your modeling. Those are harder issues to solve. So you may want to email me right away if that happens. So don't wait too long into the week, because I'll actually have to figure that out and maybe fix the model if you need help with that. I have no problem. Just don't contact me the day before it's due. So other than that, I'm happy to help. Either it's and it could be your model needs to be triangulated. That fixes some of the issues, so you can try doing that. Those things are quick ways of fixing things. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to texture this, and you'll notice up in your texture set list, these are closed now. Now that means that it's preserved the Udemy tile format, and this is what Unreal needs. I use the legacy for Maya, and then I've got to preserve the UV tiles for Unreal. So it's two different things. We're not really bringing this into Maya and rendering it and all that stuff and using it into a scene with Maya. We're going to be bringing this directly into Unreal. So we're going to bypass that whole process into Maya. So this is something totally new for you. I'm sure if you've taken my classes, I have talked about Udemy tiles, how to use them. This is different. So we're going to be going directly into Unreal, and this is going to be a different way of doing it, processing. All right. So we're going to have to mask. We're going to have to use a mask, black mask, when we add these textures. But and you can, just for fun, we're going to do the cube, just so you know how it works. I've got a list of textures I want to use right now, just to make this go quickly. So I've got in stylized natural ground. So I'm going to look for that. There's my natural ground. So I'm going to drag and drop that into my layer. You can see that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dump all of them in there at once. Not at once, but one at a time. So I've got a stylized wood base, wood bark for the next one. I'm going to drag and drop it just right where that, see where it turns white. All right, I'm going to continue that. I'm going to do a wood floor. I'm looking for my wood floor here. Some of these are hard to find. Wood floor. Where are you? Wood wall, wood floor. There it is. Wood floor. Drag and drop that. And we have the stone slate. So stone slate. I'm gonna drag and drop that. And rock face. Rock face right here. Drag and drop that one. And old floral wall. Now you may take a little more time. I just want to quickly do this. And the thing is, you're seeing all of those textures now overlapping each other. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn these off. Except for the style is natural ground. Okay? They're not fighting each other, right? So I'm going to show you what to do. So once you get your textures in there, then I'm going to right click over the object and go into add black mask. It's going to turn white, right? And then I'm going to go over to the left hand side here and I'm going to click on polygon fill. And then you're going to go down to properties. You'll see properties here. I'm going to click on this guy right here, UV chunk fill. It's going to chunk fill that particular UV. And I'm in my 2D space here. So I'm going to zoom out. And I'm going to use my, excuse me, my Alt mouse button and my middle mouse button to move it around here. So I want to see all 6 of my UV shells. Only you know how you laid out your UVs, you know. So I did the top first, then the front, and then so on and so forth. So I know which one of these UV shells is which. You may not, and that's okay. It's all right. You're going to have to kind of fuss around with it and figure out what you're going to be doing, what your UV shells are. And I always keep track of them. So if you're doing a custom object, you may have 3 or 4 of these, you may have 10, you may have 99. You may want to write down exactly which is which before you get into this. So, you know, maybe a set of notes of what you've been doing, what 1001 should be, what kind of texture it should be. And that will help make this a lot more efficient for you. All right, so I'm going to, once I do that, once I have that selected, I can go ahead and click on, I have to physically click on it on 1001. Okay. So there it is. So once I click on here and I click on here, I tell it that's where I want it to go. So I'm kind of rotate that around. So you can see that's where I want it to go. So now I'm just going to go do the rest of them really quickly. Go to this one. I'm going to go to black mask. Of course, I've got to turn this on. Right? Since I have it all set up now, all I have to do is click on the second one. And I'm going to go to the third one, right click over it, go to add black mask, make sure that's turned on with the eye, and click on that, and then click on 1003. Okay, and that one's on the bottom, I believe. Yeah, that was on the bottom. So everything's working the way I want it to work. And I'm going to continue going up. I'm going to turn that on. Select it, right click over it, go to black mask, make sure I select it, and then click on 1004. There you go. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times, like click on this and click on that, on the floor you want, the UV tile you want. All right, the rock face, let's do that, click on that, turn that on, right click, and go to add black mask, and click on this one, make sure it's on, and then click on this one. There we go. And you can see that. All right, which one do we have left? We have this one on the far side here. There we go. And then we're going to click on old floral wallpaper, which I think is kind of cool looking. And I'm going to right click over it and go to add black mask. Click on that and then click the last one. Just like that. It's pretty simple. So now we've got the texturing done. Okay. If you make a decision that you don't want something and you make a mistake, you can just click on the trash can. So select the one you don't want anymore. Click trash can, right? Click on it and it'll delete it. Okay, and then that will just turn white again or whatever color it was before. It won't have a texture on it. And then you can find the one you want, drag and drop it up in here again, and repeat the process. Okay, so these are all looking good. Now my texturing is done. Okay, now there's some things I need to check first, you know, repeat and all that stuff. As far as the texture goes itself, you need to go back into the texture. Let's say the ground, it's not what I want, it's too large, right? So what I can do in here, I can just go down in here and find out what I need to have that selected. So I really need to have the normal map on, right? Because a lot of times the height map, yeah, you know, we need to have basically let's have all of those on to make sure we get all of the we cover all of the types of maps we can generate, right? So I'm just going to double check all this. I'm going to go to the next one here and find out what I need to add. Okay, so I needed to add the normal. So apparently the normal map has been not being used, and most of there's a metal map. Now that one's the wood floor, so we don't need a metal map on. It will make one, but it won't, you know. So make sure that's not on because that's made out of wood. So there may be some things in here you don't want to have on. Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt if you have it on. But you know, if it's really shiny, super shiny in Unreal, then you know you made a mistake by clicking on. So normal map I want on that, and then I'm going to continue. It just looks like the normal map has been turned off on most of these, and I want to make sure those are turned back on by clicking on this. Now we got two areas here. This is the mask, this is the actual material. So if you don't like what the material looks like, you're going to have to click this, okay? These are two things going on at the same time in this particular material now. So they're going to be separate, right? So in here, I may want to, let me go to the top. I'm not going to do this for all of this stuff because this just takes too much time. So I'm going to do it on one. So make sure you click on the material. Depending on what kind of tiling you want. So let's tile it a couple times. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Oops. I'm on the floor. Let me go back to the basic here, this one here. There we go. And I want that ground to be repeated just a little bit. Now, if you see like repeatedness, like if it needs to be pretty small, and it repeats too much, you can go into the type of tiling that you want. Let's go to, I mean, the filtering. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. You can do sharp. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Oh, projection. Let's try that. Triplanar projection. That helps it keep from repeating, like the tiling thing. I can't stand that. That helps a little bit, you know. Helps it break it up a little bit, so you can kind of check that and see what you think, right? You know, whatever works for you. And then you kind of mess around with all of those to get exactly what you want as far as your repeating or rotating of the object. And that's how you can do all this stuff in here under the properties of the actual material, like the original material. Okay? Right? So once you're satisfied, you like everything that you see, it looks good, right? Then you're ready to save it out. Okay? So let's go right to export, go to file. Oh, that's one last thing I want to do. Save your scene, save as. And you want to save it outside of your file, okay? Wherever you're putting everything, save it outside. Do not put it in another folder, meaning that just make sure this is showing up, and then you can put it outside. That way it's easy to find. And you can see I've been saving several times, so we're going to do cube new 03 or something like that. Oops. There we go. Save.